A Symphony of Us. The first time I saw her, she was standing by the window in a small café on Maple Street. The afternoon sun poured through the glass, casting golden streaks across her dark hair and illuminating the delicate curve of her smile as she flipped through the pages of an old book. She looked up briefly, catching my gaze, and for a moment, it felt like time stopped. I didn't know then that this fleeting encounter would become the beginning of a lifetime melody, a symphony of us. I mustered the courage to approach her that day, my heart pounding wildly against my ribs. "What are you reading?" I asked, trying to sound casual but failing miserably. She glanced at me, her eyes soft yet curious, and held up the cover of the book. It was a worn-out copy of Pride and Prejudice. "Ah," I said, nodding appreciatively, though I had only read half of it in high school. "Classic choice." She laughed lightly, closing the book and tucking it under her arm. "Do you like classics?" "I do now," I replied, surprising even myself with the boldness of my answer. Her laughter deepened, and she extended her hand. "I'm Clara." And just like that, we began our story. Clara and I were opposites in many ways. She was meticulous, organized, and had a penchant for planning every detail of her life. I, on the other hand, lived more spontaneously, often letting the wind carry me wherever it pleased. Yet somehow, these differences wove together seamlessly, creating a tapestry neither of us could have imagined alone. Our early days were filled with long walks along the riverbank, late-night conversations about everything from childhood dreams to existential questions, and shared meals where we discovered each other's quirks, like how she hated olives but loved anchovies, or how I always stole fries off her plate despite knowing she'd protest. Each moment felt electric, charged with the promise of something greater than ourselves. But love isn't just about the highs, it's also about navigating the lows. And we faced ours sooner than expected. One evening, after months of blissful dating, Clara came to me visibly shaken. She sat down on the edge of my couch, twisting her fingers nervously. "There's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. My stomach tightened, bracing for whatever storm might follow. It turned out to be news no one ever wants to hear. Clara had been diagnosed with a chronic illness that would require lifelong management. As she spoke, tears streaming silently down her cheeks, all I could think about was how much I wanted to shield her from pain. But I knew I couldn't fix this, not completely. All I could do was stand beside her. "I'm scared," she admitted finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "So am I confessed. But we'll figure it out. Together." That night marked a turning point in our relationship. We weren't just two people falling in love anymore, we were becoming partners in the truest sense of the word. Over the next few years, we learned to adapt, to celebrate the good days and endure the bad ones. There were hospital visits, sleepless nights, and moments when frustration threatened to pull us apart. But through it all, we clung to each other, finding strength in our shared commitment. 5 years into our journey, I decided it was time to ask Clara to marry me. Planning the proposal wasn't easy, she had a knack for guessing surprises, so I had to get creative. I enlisted the help of her best friend, Mia, who suggested incorporating music, a passion we both shared. On the day of the proposal, I took Clara to a local park where a string quartet awaited, hidden among the trees. As we strolled along the path, the musicians began playing our favorite piece, Edvard Grieg's Morning Mood. Clara froze mid-step, her eyes widening in surprise. "What is this?" she asked, looking around. Before she could say anything else, I knelt down on one knee, pulling out a small velvet box. "Clara," I began, my voice thick with emotion, "you are the melody that makes my life complete. Will you spend the rest of your life composing this symphony with me?" Tears welled up in her eyes as she nodded vigorously. "Yes. 1,000 times yes," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around me. Marriage brought new challenges and joys. We bought a little house with a garden where Clara planted lavender and roses. On weekends, we'd sit outside sipping coffee, watching the bees buzz lazily from flower to flower. Sometimes, we'd dance barefoot in the grass, swaying to the rhythm of our own laughter. As the years passed, we grew older together. Lines appeared around our eyes, and strands of gray peeked through our hair. But if anything, our love only deepened, like fine wine maturing over time. We supported each other through career changes, family losses, and the inevitable ups and downs of life. Through it all, we never lost sight of what mattered most, the bond we shared. On our 20th anniversary, Clara surprised me with a gift, a leather-bound journal filled with snippets of memories from our life together. Poems, photos, ticket stubs, and handwritten notes spilled out onto the pages, each entry a testament to the moments that defined us. At the very end, she had written, "To my dearest partner in this symphony of life, thank you for choosing me every single day. Here's to 20 more years, and beyond, of dancing to our own tune." I hugged her tightly, overwhelmed by gratitude. In that moment, I realized that love wasn't just about grand gestures or perfect moments. It was about showing up, day after day, choosing each other despite imperfections and uncertainties. It was about creating a melody unique to us, a symphony of laughter, tears, dreams, and resilience. Today, as we sit side by side on our porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, I feel an overwhelming sense of peace. Life hasn't always been easy, but it has been beautiful because of her. Clara takes my hand in hers, squeezing gently, and smiles. "You know," she says softly, "I still can't believe you proposed with a string quartet." I chuckle, leaning over to kiss her temple. "And I can't believe you said yes." We laugh together, the sound mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. It's a simple moment, but it's ours, a note in the ongoing symphony of us. And as long as we have each other, the music will never fade.